Alexander Monks using only Post-it notes. But Ms. Juhasz said no. Being selected to introduce a student that I admire is an incredible honor and an intimidating one, since as a science teacher, I'm not the most eloquent writer. So what I will say about Alexander will only be expressed the best way that I can from the heart. He was one, if not the top, chemistry students during his sophomore year, and I was so excited at the prospect of challenging him in AP Physics 1 the following year. However, Alexander had other plans for his junior year science class, which he chose to be anatomy, and he disregarded my very strong recommendation, even though I have to admit he had some decent arguments. In hindsight, this turned out to be a good decision, as he would have taken a very hands-on class remotely due to COVID. He fulfilled his promise to come back to AP Physics 1 his senior year and immediately set the tone for the class. He sometimes served as a translator for the class, the only way Alexander can, using the oh so very scientific terms such as thingy and because science. Also referring to experimental procedures as shenanigans. I know he forced me to become a better teacher by being that student, which made me bring my A game every day. I can only hope I didn't let him down. Outside of school, Alexander is a jack of trades and master of all, except for maybe tennis, where Coach McKenzie says he is average, and sleep. Does he ever sleep? He volunteers, he helps others, he contributes, he leads, he is constantly learning. He is all of these things. As Ms. Juhasz puts it, he's a Renaissance man. And while I will miss seeing Alexander's wry smile every day, I know that our loss is most definitely Georgia Tech's gain, and I could not be more proud of him. I introduce Alexander Monks.
Thank you, Ms. Sumner. Good evening. Before I begin, I feel compelled to address the extreme tragedy in Texas yesterday. It is excruciatingly disheartening that those children will never have their own graduation. So please join me in taking a brief moment of silence to commemorate them. Thank you. I believe Will and I first realized we're competing for valedictorian in our sophomore year. And despite Will ultimately winning out, I still titled this document Valedictorian Speech, contingent on Will moving to Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, Will still sits in the third row with extreme confidence. Jokes aside, I love Will, and I'm incredibly excited to spend the next 4 years with him at Georgia Tech. He perfectly encapsulates the wonderful class of 2022 and everything great about William and Reed. But it's estimated that we come in contact with roughly 80,000 people in our lives, which is terrible for pandemic prevention, but should serve as a reminder of our potential individual impact. I mention this because as we go our separate ways, each of us will touch the lives of countless individuals. So we must curate a personal message to each person we encounter to positively and deliberately direct the immense power of our interactions. It's also important to be cognizant of our vocational impact. Should we rashly chase wealth, or should we wield our efforts towards genuine benefit? Who do we want to become? What should our impact be? How should we be remembered? These are all questions that should be on our minds as we enter this next stage of our life. We are the up-and-coming generation, and like all the generations that came before us, we will undoubtedly be the reason this country fails in a burning, dramatic fashion. In all seriousness, when hindsight becomes 2020 and our prime has passed, should negatives define us, or should our achievements elude the dwindling effects of time and deliver all for millennia, like the pyramids of Giza? As we specialize our skills in this next chapter, we must take a step back, beyond our current motivations and aspirations, to explore the potential long-term ramifications and broader impact, and shape our behavior to bolster a greater purpose. Should we design meaningless trinkets or contribute to a project representative of our dreams and that delivers legitimate innovation? Oftentimes, when discussing the true value in our lives, it circles back to people. The relationships we build make life worth living, so we should preserve existing relationships while fostering new connections. As young people, our future manifests as an open field of dreams, granting us the opportunity to direct our ambition and choose a path that aligns with our desires. Many people place their effort chasing the superficial along undesirable paths, but it's only when we sift through the meaningless undergrowth that we discover the yellow brick road. In The Wizard of Oz, after being displaced, Dorothy embarks on a journey through the mysterious land of Oz to return home to Kansas. And while I cannot fathom why anyone would willingly seek out Kansas, we can learn from Dorothy. On her journey, she encounters a scarecrow needing a brain, a tin man needing a heart, and a lion needing courage. On the surface, these broken characters appear to be a burden, but ultimately, they assist in her return while simultaneously relieving their own afflictions on the way. So Dorothy displays that our individualized yellow brick road reveals itself through connections, friendship, and love. Whether we aspire to revolutionize an industry, become a veterinarian, or simply make shopping a pleasure, we must realize that the people we meet along the way and our pre-existing relationships are the true yellow brick road. This yellow brick road only reveals itself through the intentionality of our interactions and aspirations. Bridges burn easily if we're not careful, but once we find our brick path, it can shine long after we're gone. Just as Rome wasn't built in a day, it also wasn't built alone. In a study where teachers were given bogus, randomly generated high test scores, the students with the high test scores substantially outperformed the students with the low test scores. Innate ability did not propel these successful students. Instead, their teachers' belief in them and their belief in themselves delivered their achievements. Every member of William & Reed's faculty believed in me throughout my 5 years here. Even Mr. Cluthy cheered me on at cross-country meets where I was striving for a sub-55K. I appreciate all that you have done for each of us. However, Mrs. Messick, my 9th grade biology teacher, has disproportionately impacted me by assigning a research project on a biology career. I researched biomedical engineering for my project, which currently stands as my intended major at Georgia Tech. So thank you, Mrs. Messick, for the inevitable immense pain and sleepless nights. Sometimes ignorance really is bliss. Over my time at William & Reed, I've connected with countless members of the graduating class. And while I am simply the kid who showed up to community service in skinny jeans, I vehemently believe in each of us. We must uncover and embrace our intrinsic capabilities, which are lying just beneath a shallow pile of leaves. If we cherish and celebrate the abilities of ourselves and our peers, we will surely uncover the luster of the yellow brick road. A year ago, before we started our senior year, my good friend Dom, who's at least 7, maybe 8 feet tall, relative to me at least, asked if we would cry after graduating. And after seeing last year's seniors make an emotional departure, I was unsure. But this emotion stems from the lives we each live. Each of us is infinitely fortunate for the opportunities granted to us by the wonderful parents and mentors that stand behind us. And while Dorothy was surely glad to return to Kansas, part of her undoubtedly longed for the magical wonders of the land of Oz. We currently sit in the same bittersweet limbo, sad to leave the life we love, but eager to embrace the next adventure. A few weeks ago, trying to stay out of trouble, I curiously watched a kidney transplant surgery video, which seemingly might be the most stereotypical monks thing ever. And one of the comments resonated with me. We're going off deep end, ladies and gentlemen. But it read, I need to start appreciating my life, seemingly in awe of the miracle of human life. but it really struck me. Every day, every moment we have on this planet is a gift, so we must make the most of it. Over this past year, Asa roped Andrew and me into running cross country and playing tennis, where we truly exemplified the qualities of professional athletes by managing to hit the ball occasionally. Or as Ms. Sumner already mentioned, Mr. McKenzie remarked, we were beautifully average, which was an extraordinary embellishment. We were horrid. But it didn't matter. Our competitions may not have uncovered the next William and Reed athletic gyms, but they cemented the sheen of the yellow brick road by invigorating cherished connections. I cannot sufficiently thank the exceptional teachers who constantly go above and beyond. From Mr. McKenzie constructing a personal workout plan to Mrs. Snyder blessing us with formula quizzes, and Mrs. Sumner offering to personally prepare me for the AP Physics exam. Mr. Paris, Mrs. Blevins, Mrs. Uhas, Ms. Taylor, Mr. Brothers, and Mrs. Galding, y'all are incredible. For my perfect parents and brother, the Carlsons, the Kennedys, and my Oma and Opa, thank you for everything. Y'all have, for better or worse, made me who I am. I love y'all. Congratulations to the class of 2022. Thank you and have a lovely night.